Well, this is awkward, isn't it? Training is on hold again, but parkour is totally safe. I don't know why anyone would say it's not safe. So my knee is pretty messed up right now, and as much as I'd like to continue bringing the content that I was bringing, I'm gonna have to put training on hold. If you're new here, I'll quickly catch you up to speed. 6 months ago, I smashed my knee into a wall pretty badly. Doctors told me I didn't likely damage anything, but recovery was taking a long time. Eventually I got into my off-season programming and started vlogging some of my workouts here. The off-season program was something I wanted to put out there for all of you, but it was also really good practice for me in speaking to a camera and putting out quick edits. The last few weeks had felt great. I knew my knee wasn't 100%, but it was able to handle a lot of high-intensity outputs. I had been doing plenty of max effort jumps, and I even got my squat back up to double body weight. I really felt like the injury was behind me and I could start focusing on the mental side of training. I had an MRI last week, and I'll be making a separate video once I have the results of that to go into the details about my injury. But in short, what happened is I intensified my training, and I guess my knee rejected the volume because it decided to just completely quit on this drop. Coincidentally, on the same day as my MRI. So training is on pause, the off-season show is in limbo, and I'll be taking this opportunity to do something a little bit different. I was actually having some trouble recording the vlogs, and I felt like they came together a little bit better when I started treating them more like a tutorial or a video essay about my workouts. So this is going to be part 1 of maybe 3 videos where I talk about parkour injuries, aging, and some other stuff about myself. Alright, so is parkour dangerous? Nearly every parkour athlete or enthusiast I know will deny that it is dangerous. In fact, there was even this t-shirt that some freerunners, or should I say tracers, used to wear that said, "Discipline not dangerous." And that is a piece of parkour nostalgia that is from outside of the UK. Discipline not dangerous was a phrase at the time sounded pretty enlightened, but now it sounds kind of fragile and rather cringe. Parkour is full of misunderstood humans with really fragile egos about what they do. And I know this because I've been one of them for almost 2 decades now. There's a massive amount of people in the parkour community that feel really insecure about what they're doing, which makes sense because parkour is a really niche activity that largely misinterprets architecture in a way that seems really weird and abnormal to people that don't do it. It's a really tough sell to jump from one wall to another wall and then tell someone that it's not dangerous. Webster's dictionary defines danger as involving possible injury, harm, pain, or loss. When you jump from one wall to another wall, there definitely is the possibility of danger. I mean, if you've done parkour long enough, you've definitely been put through injury, pain, harm, loss. So why are we lying to ourselves and other people by practicing an activity where the very possibility of injury is definitely there, but calling it not dangerous? Instead of saying parkour isn't dangerous, maybe we can realize that danger does not equal bad. Life is full of danger, and no matter who you are, you have probably pursued danger at some point. One of my favorite YouTubers is Zach Gallardo. Zach makes videos about riding fixed gear bicycles, but a lot of his content also applies to just cycling in general. Anyways, he finishes up every video with a tagline that encourages you to ride every day so that you can be reasonably dangerous. That's so good. I wish that could be the title for this video. Many people choose to wear a helmet when they ride a bike because a fall at speed or a hit from another vehicle could very likely leave your head bouncing off the pavement. This is a very real risk of riding a bike, and yet most people don't view it as a very dangerous activity. Maybe it's because it's such a common activity that almost everyone can do. But hold on, most of us had to be taught how to ride a bike with training wheels and support from a parent, older sibling, or friend. I remember being terrified to ride my bike without training wheels and refusing to ride without them. My mom did the typical exercise where you push your kid on a bike and then when they feel like they're balanced, you let go. And I fell. And I refused to try again. I was so stubborn about it that I gave up trying to get onto a bike until I was 10 years old. It was embarrassing. There I was, a 10-year-old boy who had not yet learned how to ride a bicycle. Eventually I felt determined and I got on my bike, and I realized that I could kind of fall and turn side to side. This side to side movement felt dangerous, but it was also really fun. By my next time on the bike, I had learned how to balance, and like most kids, my pursuit of danger didn't stop there. I learned how to pedal without hands, bomb down steep hills, and ride down stairs. Whee! These things sound a bit more dangerous, but you see kids doing them all the time. And maybe because they're often wearing helmets, we don't think to stop and tell them that they're gonna hurt themselves. And yet it's very common for a passerby to see someone doing parkour and tell them that they're going to get hurt. Hey, you're gonna break your neck! As parkour people, we often want to have our cake and eat it too. Oh, fabulous. Can I get a fork? We want to watch Store's roof culture, see Dom do insane front flips, and watch Joe Scandrett drop balconies from like 10 stories up, but then also say, hey, parkour is not dangerous. No, seriously, can I get a fork? We want to see the upper level athletes do things that push the sport, but we don't want outside people to say that it's dangerous. Some practitioners will deny all the massive kongs, gap jumps, and impact-filled fun as even being part of parkour. Which, no, doing parkour doesn't need to be these big or death-defying things, but the old definition used to be reach and escape. And if you want to get really good at getting from A to B to save your life, well then you're going to need to at some point take big drops, do scary gap jumps, and get really physically and mentally strong. This denial of a certain sect of parkour is a big problem because it basically turns fellow practitioners into members of the public saying things like, these young men are just gonna kill themselves. I think what we all need to realize is that danger is hard to avoid even at low levels, and your practice might be just as dangerous as someone else's. My friend Steph made a video where she talks about doing parkour as a demographic that is different than the norm and what it's like to practice parkour at her age. In these videos, she's not doing some of the iconic jumps and feats that parkour is famous for, but she is pursuing danger in her own way. And I can say this because in the video, she talks about how she got knee pain from attempting a jump several times. A rational explanation that a lot of higher level freerunners like to throw around is that they're able to make safe what they're doing by doing a certain amount of reps over time at ground level. This is true that the more you practice a movement successfully, the more likely you are to continue to have success and then be able to take that movement into an environment where danger is more present. But what happens when that doesn't work? When years of training doesn't protect you from danger? Let's say you're like me. You train a lot and you don't bail often. You are 99.9% in total control, which is incredible, but let's say it's true. That would mean that on average, every 1,000th rep, something will go wrong. The more you train, the more often you get around to missing that fateful rep, and eventually it will be the rep that leads to injury. When you take hard surfaces and combine them with dynamic and powerful movement, you get danger. And there's no bulletproofing your body. Anyone who claims that they can bulletproof a joint has probably never ever held a piece to one. You can make your joints as tough as you want, but smash it with enough force and it's gonna give. There's a short phrase that gets used in coaching a lot, particularly in cases where a lot of danger is present. Control what you can. That's what we're doing when we practice to perfection and strengthen our body. And yeah, these are worthwhile things to do because they are going to limit the likelihood of injuries occurring. But you are not becoming immune to injury. No one's invincible, except maybe Dom. Dom might be invincible. Parkour is the pursuit of danger, but that is not something that is unique to parkour. Pursuing any physical activity with the desire to have continued progress is dangerous. Anytime you try to get that much stronger, faster, or more enduring, you are exposing yourself to danger. But avoiding danger is not the solution. We just need to become more danger positive and control what we can. One thing we can control is our training volume and frequency. So volume referring to how many jumps or lifts you're doing in a session, and frequency referring to how often those sessions are occurring. Assuming that you want to keep getting better, you need to make sure that your training is somewhat frequent. Training that is not frequent enough will lead to some deconditioning. Your jump output will reduce, your technique won't be as refined, and you won't handle impact as well. On the other hand, training that is too frequent and done at too high of a volume will lead to overuse injuries like patellar tendonitis. And this will also cause general fatigue that will make you more susceptible to acute injuries like tears or sprains. Finding the right volume and frequency has been my main focus for the last few years, but I still have yet to find the right dosage for myself. I really love training parkour and being fit, and I will take any opportunity I can get to train. Being danger positive means not being afraid to try new things and explore your limits. It also means not being offended when people don't realize what it is that you're doing. The more you do things like jump at walls in public, the more you're going to attract comments like, "You look like you're trying to kill yourself. Oh, that one was lucky. If I tried that, I'd break my neck." Well, yeah, these types of comments from people with no context are actually pretty warranted. Sure, they don't feel good to hear, but you're the one doing something completely out of the ordinary that looks really dangerous. And when you think of it that way, it doesn't make sense for your immediate response to be defensive. "I'm disciplined." Instead, realize that yes, it is dangerous, but that's also what makes it so rewarding. Looking danger in the face and overcoming it. That's where most of us get a lot of our enjoyment from in doing parkour. So do you think parkour is dangerous? Do you think we have to defend it every single time someone says that it is? Drop me a comment, let me know your thoughts. While you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and